Moko! Supercell's new game Moko is launching into beta, and it's their most ambitious and promising game since Brawl Stars. And in this video, I'm going to go over everything that you need to know about the new game and how you can test it yourself because the beta opens on October the 25th. Moko is a MMORPG, which stands for Massively Multiplayer Online Role-Playing Game. Now, the closest thing that I can equate this to is Blizzard's hit game Diablo. It's more of a hack and slash MMO, and it doesn't lean too heavily into the role-playing aspects yet, although there are some. You see this when you first launch the game, and you find yourself in a room, which is basically the hub for your player. As you progress, new things will be unlocked in this room, and the art design here is really vibrant and styled. You'll see a room off to the right-hand side, as well as a bathroom. Now, I don't know if those get unlocked later, or if they have future plans, but for now, you can't enter them. You're greeted with a text message from Luna, who is one of the master headhunters, and she wants to see if you got what it takes to become one yourself. She gives you a bat and opens a portal to an alternate dimension. Now, after you pet your cat, which is optional, but nice. Okay, I might have spent too much time petting the cat. You then head through the portal and find Luna in the flesh. She directs you on your very first quest to go hunt some monsters. Now, the controls here are extremely familiar. You got your move stick on the left-hand side, you got your attack button on the right. And there's no manual targeting in all of this. It just attacks whoever is closest. And that is actually one of the slight gripes I have, but I'll talk about my opinion near the end of the video. Now, you also have a standard heal gadget and a dash, and they do... well, I mean, they do exactly what you think that they would do. You also have a small bar beneath your health bar. Now, when this charges up, your weapon will unleash a special attack, and each weapon is different, and I will cover all of those when I talk about the weapons. But for the bat right here, it has a slight knockback, and it deals more damage with this big swing. You'll roam around the small area, killing creatures you come across, and some monsters that you kill in the process will drop, and you can pick up a gear blueprint. Now, this is important as it's the way you unlock and create your gear. And when you head back to your room, you'll learn all about your very own 3D printer. Now, that gear blueprint you picked up is now used to print off your very first piece of gear. This printer is also used to upgrade your gear later on. This is where we start to see the complexity of Moko start to emerge. This piece of gear you print off is a gadget called Smart Fireworks. This gadget launches a bunch of fireworks that seek out nearby enemies, dealing damage to them. This is an active gadget. Now, there are both active and passive gadgets, and when you go on your next mission to kill some boss monsters, after picking up yet another blueprint, you'll print out another gadget. This one, however, is a passive one called Zap in a Box. Now, when you go to equip it in your wardrobe, you'll see you have slots for 3 passive and 3 active gadgets. Of course, some of those slots don't unlock until later. And this is also where the tutorial ends and you become a full-fledged monster hunter. So then this ushers in the normal gameplay. You go out to the world, you have contracts to kill certain monsters or complete certain objectives. For doing this, you gain experience as well as all the materials, the blueprints, or new clothing drops to stylize your character along the way. Now, I can only show you up to level 7 today, but trust me when I say it gets way better after that. In the future, I'll be able to cover the raids, the PvP, all of the different worlds and gear and different strategy, but let's go over what I can show you for right now. There are 3 different worlds up to level 7. The first one is called Shrine Canyon. Now, seeing it's the first world that you encounter, it's nothing too crazy. But that being said, like the rest of the worlds in Moko, the artwork and the environments are absolutely top-notch. And honestly, this is one of the best things about the game, how rich the environments are. This world is greener and only has a handful of different enemies to encounter. There are the melee little grunts, the ranged grenadiers, and then the stronger slashers. Now, each one of these drops different materials that will be used in your 3D printer. Also, each world has 10 chests around the environment that will give you 10 crystals, which are kind of like gems in Brawl Stars, so you're going to want to seek them out and find all of them in each world. The second world is called Overgrown Ruins. Now, while this world is also pretty green, it also has some darker sections and ruins to explore. Now, the difficulty and the complexity of the monsters here gets taken up a notch as we see jumpers who... well, they jump on you, toxic saplings who bomb you from a distance, and then perhaps the hardest ones here are the jugglers. They will attack you, but then they will unleash a long flurry of bombs that you're going to have to avoid. The harder monsters have a little icon by their name so that you know what you're getting into and you don't just stroll up to them unprepared. Now, the third world is the Forest Barracks. This world is much darker, but has a really cool vibe. You're going to find lots of forests, docks, houses, even like a little vehicle on the side, a castle area, and a lot more, honestly. Now, this world also has an entirely new set of monsters, completely different from the previous two. From the basic little beetles, heavy splitters, and the tanky knights, to the more complex ones like the executioner, who has multiple different attacks, as well as the alarm bell, who keeps calling more enemies every time he rings his bell. This world is really cool. It's just a whole vibe. Now, there are a lot more worlds in this one, but this is all of the worlds that I can show you today. Now, there are a handful of weapons that you can unlock up to level 7, and there are many more after that, but what I can show you today are these 3. Now, the bat is just a basic weapon. It has a damage in an area swing and a big knockback for its special power. It's basic, but effective. The next weapon is the electro fists. They fire off orbs of energy that bounce between enemies, and they do it from range. Now, every 10th shot, it shoots off a massive ball of energy, dealing even more damage, stunning and knocking back enemies. Now, its hit rate is faster, but its damage per hit is lower than the bat. The wolf stick is a long-range gun with a twist. The gun itself does very little damage, but for its special ability, it will spawn a big blue wolf. He's a very aggro tank that deals quite a bit of damage and soaks up the hits while you stay back firing away. Now, this wolf isn't the smartest and he doesn't seem to avoid damage very well, but he does have a lot of hit points and he is the main damage with this weapon. Now, there are 4 active gadgets to unlock up to level 7, and just like the weapons, every time you upgrade them in the printer, they get stronger. Each gadget has its own cooldown timer as well, so you can only use them every so often. First off is your starter gadget, the heal gadget. It heals you, but it will also heal everyone around you too, whether they are on your team or not. It'll also heal your wolf too if you're using the wolf stick, so it's a good thing to use when there's a bunch of people clumped up because you can heal everybody. Now, the fireworks in the box that we mentioned earlier, they shoot off an enemy-seeking firework that deals solid damage and are good for both single target as well as a small amount of area control, but it's nothing compared to the area control that is the boombox. The boombox slams the ground and deals damage to everything in a very large radius, as well as stuns them. Now, the stun doesn't work on boss monsters, but this is really great for swarm control. And then the last active gadget that I can show you today is the monster taser. This will attack the nearest enemy and deal big damage to them, but it is only single target. And then we have 3 passive gadgets that I can show you today. We've got the vampire teeth that heal you and your pets for a small amount with every hit. Now, it only counts the first hit, so like the electro fists don't get double healing for the bounce shots, but this gadget works better on faster hit speed builds than it does on slower ones. The next one is called Zap in a Box, and it will randomly zap and stun one enemy in range every 3 seconds, and it actually does quite a bit of damage as well. And then we've got a gadget called the Smelly Socks. These will deal consistent damage to everyone around you, just like it would if your feet were really stinky. The damage is low, but it works really well as constant damage against big swarm units. Now, you can build your character however you like. You can mix and match the gadgets as well as weapons to whatever build that you want to play. Now, today I can only show you these damaging weapons and builds, but there are a lot more to come so that you can fill roles like healing or tanking, range DPS, melee DPS. The options are really crazy. Now, unlike some other games like Diablo where you have to start a new character if you want to play a different role, that's not the case here. This one character can be any role. It all depends on how you build them. There's also something called projects. Now, think of these like achievements, but you get granted a considerable amount of XP just for completing them. So after your jobs are finished, you can keep grinding to collect materials as well as completing projects and gaining XP. Now, at this level, we find some other things in our room as well. First off, there's a storage chest that lets you see your materials that you've collected, as well as a fella named Manny. Now, Manny will show you some new stuff from time to time that you have unlocked but haven't gotten yet. But he also helps you track your materials for things that you're trying to upgrade. When you track the materials and go out into the world, you'll see a star by the enemy letting you know that they dropped something that you've been looking for. You've also got the shop here, which is kind of like a vending machine. And in there, well, it's pretty limited at the moment. There's chaos cubes that act as kind of like wild card materials to help you finish off an upgrade if you don't have enough of the actual materials yourself, as well as there is Moco Plus, which gives you new missions faster, increases the amount of missions you can get, it gives you 50% more materials from drops, and it makes your player a magnet for those drops so you don't have to do as much running. And this, by far, is the best way to use your gems. Or crystals. So then that's everything up to level 7 that I can show you. Now, this game is going into a beta test that is open for sign up. So if you want to sign up to get a chance to try it for yourself, there is going to be a link in the description so you can do just that. Now, the test servers are based out of the US, so if you're outside of the US, you can still sign up, but you might not experience the best connection. I am really excited for this game. There's actually so much more I wish I could show you right now, but currently, this is all I can show you today. Now, not everything is perfect yet. First off, I really wish you could target a single enemy, like target the one that you want, as well as you can't hold down attack and like press a gadget at the same time. It's one or the other, so you can't play like a claw style. I wish you could do that for faster reactions. Also, I'd like it if the game leaned into the story a little bit more just to get you more invested in what's going on, and maybe that's coming. This is an early beta, so that may be on the way, but as for the moment, you kind of just feel like, hey, I'm out here grinding, you know how to grind, but you don't get a big purpose of why you're doing this. And while I like the 3D printer, it's pretty cool, I also miss like the random drops that you get from grinding, like in some other games where you would grind and you'll see a weapon drop and you go figure out what it is and it's like a legendary weapon. That's just such a cool moment and feeling that you don't really get from this game. But that being said, the controls are really smooth. The game is easy to understand, and it actually has quite a bit of depth to it with all the different builds that you can make. They have raids, which I can't show you yet, but they're super fun and repeatable as you try to beat your best times on increasing difficulties. The art style, especially the environments and the attack animations, are just like super crisp and fluid. Bottom line, I think this game could be huge if they keep going the way that they are, and I'm really excited about it. But I'd be interested to hear your thoughts as well, so post them down below and go sign up for the beta if you're interested. Also, do you want to see some more content on MoCo as it develops here? Let me know.